I should have never, ever even been on the Olympia stage. I mean, I got started in this industry at 35. I started breakdancing at 40. I'm gonna be the first chick to step on this stage and do breakdancing. They're either gonna love it or hate it. So whether it's you're 30, 50, 80, you should always have a plan of what it is, how do you wanna feel, what do you wanna be doing, and how can we get you there? It doesn't matter what your goal is, but you're either making excuses or you're making progress. Which is it?
So, well, let's first off, let me say this, because you have been in how many, you also run the Whitney Classic, which is a big fitness event here. Ashley, who's over here too, who's also pro. Ashley Garcia is awesome. And we've been running the Lean Life Challenge. They've been basically the educators and the ones that are guiding everyone through the challenge. The thing with the Whitney Classic, you've been in a lot of competitions and stuff, and I want to just have you share, you learned breakdancing. You do breakdancing in your performances, backflips, all kinds of stuff, and you never got trained except by watching YouTube videos.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So how did you, like, you're really, you became one of the best in the world in this. So, like, what sort of advice would you have for learning something new? And what age were you when you learned this?
So I had been competing already for a couple years in fitness. So fitness is in the bodybuilding realm, but what I do, I don't get on stage, I don't flex. That's a different division. I do a 2-minute routine that's gymnastics, dance, backflips, and I got into the sport out of a dare. Someone said, oh my gosh, you could never do this. And I had no idea what they were talking about, but I thought, yeah, I can. And so I thought, what did I just agree to? And I was just telling Michael this story. And it was just going to be a one and done. I've been an athlete all my life. I love a challenge, but I had fun doing it. And I thought, well, let's do another one. Long story short, ended up turning pro, had the opportunity to compete on the Olympia stage, which is like the Super Bowl for our sport. So I have no formal training at all, no gymnastics experience. Everyone that I usually compete against, literally probably, I'd say 9 out of 10 athletes in my division, they're all level 10 gymnasts. And so I thought, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, to be honest. So I'm just gonna have fun with it. But I would watch the routines. I'm like, everyone kind of does the same stuff. And I've never been that way. I thought if I'm gonna do something, I wanna do it. I wanna do it different. I wanna stand out. So during this mindset of what am I gonna do that's different, or how can my routine and my performance be fun and not kind of boring like what I've been seeing? And that's horrible to say, but in truth, I was like, oh, everyone's the same. So I was on YouTube and I saw these crazy calisthenic athletes doing like ridiculous stuff on bars, and then I don't know if I would say Capawata type style. Yeah. And I thought, I don't know what any of this is, but that looks hard. It looks cool as shit. If I could learn to do one trick, I want to do it. So when I was growing up, my brothers, I had 2 older brothers, we were in that whole breakdancing era, and we used to carry a piece of cardboard to school and try and do back spins before school, and then you ditch the cardboard. So I thought, I wonder if I could try breakdancing. I mean, I was never good at it, clearly, when I was in 2nd grade. But I thought, let me try. Took on the challenge, and I learned center of gravity is different for men and women, and that's why you typically don't see a lot of women doing breakdancing. You've got to have tons of upper body strength and typically kind of skinnier legs to be able to twirl, backspin, swipes, all sorts of stuff. So it was so hard even to do a simple skill, but I loved the challenge. I loved it. This is not going to come easy. It's going to take dedication every day. So I said, I'm going to be the first chick to step on this stage and do breakdancing. They're either going to love it or hate it, but if I love it, that's all that matters. It wasn't about the win. It was about enjoying the journey, the challenge, and finding mastery in even just one skill. So that's kind of how it got started.
Well, so I mean, so we're talking about challenge. So how would you even define what a challenge is? Because you know, my perspective on this is I was Bill Phillips's marketing consultant for on and off for 13 years, and I met him in 1995, and I started working with him at the end of 1996, and he was, you know, he ended up building the largest sports supplement company in the world at that time, which was EAS, Experimental and Applied Sciences. And so when I first started working with him, he wanted help distributing a movie which was called Body of Work that he had spent at the time $1 million putting together. I mean, you can do that stuff today, obviously with iPhones and everything for much less.
An app.
And I mean, you can watch that movie on YouTube if you want to go see it, but it was a story about the 10 people that had entered the physique transformation contest. So he had put together this documentary, and the whole point of it was to position and sell supplements, EAS supplements, and he was one of the first ones to sell creatine, and he had a supplement called, he was part owner of a company called Metrex with Scott Donald. That was the first kind of packaged protein that became really well known. And then he created Myoplex and Betagen and Cytovol and all these different supplements that he sold. But he had a magazine called Muscle Media 2000. And I helped him with a lot of stuff, but the contest model that he did, what he found is that everyday people, not hardcore bodybuilders, were the majority, 90% of the people that were entering the contest, even though his bodybuilding magazine at the time was mostly focused on hardcore bodybuilders. And he learned that, wow, most of the people that are entering it's a vicarious thing. People look up to these individuals, they want to look this way, but most of them are not competitive bodybuilders. But once he did a challenge, a contest, what would happen is people would transform their physiques and their health that went through it within 12 weeks, very quickly. Major mental and physical transformations. But the other thing from a business side is his supplement sales would double. People that were buying stuff from him, while they were in a contest, they would buy twice as much. So that was, and at the time, 90% of the people that were reading the magazine were male, but 50% of the ones that were entering the contest were female. So there was this, lots of women wanted to be in this. So it completely changed from a hardcore bodybuilding magazine that would publish articles that had his hate mail in it and filled with profanity and articles on steroids and everything, to basically this positive thinking. And all the bodybuilders thought, you sold out, you asshole, I can't believe, and it was because I gave him an idea to donate money to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and he ended up becoming the largest individual contributor in the history of the world for the Make-A-Wish Foundation. If they watch this movie and liked it, they make a donation. Now, in the process, this thing blew up, and over 1 million people entered the Body for Life contest. Body for Life came out of it, right? So, and that book exists in large part because of everything that I did with him. And so I got to see firsthand in the 90s how a contest, how a challenge of 12 weeks can transform a normal person's life. This is your world. You train more fitness competitors than any gym in North America right now. So you run the Whitney Classic, which has hundreds of people that show up in there. So you understand challenge. And so the reason I wanted to bring Whitney here, twofold. One, answer any questions that I have and people have about health, working out, exercise, diet, that sort of stuff, so that you can utilize it in your own life for betterment. And I also want you to see the benefit and the value of putting yourself into a challenge, putting yourself into a period of time where you give yourself a deadline, so you start training for something instead of just exercising or working out. Or those of you like, I don't want to work out, I don't really want to look at my diet. Your life will change. I mean, Dan Sullivan has this really impactful thing. He talks about strategic byproducts. When you make a goal, like in 12 weeks I'm going to do this, all these things happen off to the side that are the strategic byproducts of making that goal. So we're going to do another Lean Life Challenge after the first one. We're about halfway through of a 12-week challenge, and love for you guys if you like to join that. So that's the first thing. That's sort of if there is an agenda and a motive, it's that. And now I'm going to just ask you some questions about fitness and health. But the first one is like, why challenges? What does it do for someone? Because it changes them.
For me, and what I tell a lot of clients, you've got to have that focus, and especially for high-level entrepreneurs, CEOs, we've got so many millions of things we're balancing daily. If you don't have focus, you're not ever going to put together a plan or a strategy to get there, so you're going to fail. So in reality, a challenge allows someone to go, okay, they know there's a finish line, that's easier to grasp, versus saying, hey, do this and do it forever. Because then at that point people are like, I'm not ready yet, I'm going to wait, and you hold off on it. But when you do a challenge, it's like there's this fun. It's this nervous energy of, I don't know if I can do it. Well, maybe I can. And if you're driven, you have that, I'm gonna crush it. I'm gonna win, whether it's winning against yourself or others. So a challenge gives you that push to say, let's go. Typically, if you're jumping in a challenge, it's structured, so you know what's expected of you, you know what you need to invest, time, energy, finances, commitment, whatever, and then you know there is an end. But what most times with great challenges, you're hooked on it, or you see the good, which was the reason you did it in the first place, and you want to continue. So for what I do in the health and wellness industry, I coach a ton of athletes, I coach a ton of lifestyle clients. That's what 2 of my businesses do. It's creating a lifestyle, and it's taking whatever your goal is and whatever your goal is and whatever it is that's preventing you from getting there and showing you a path to get it done. Nothing I say or do myself is rocket science, but it's having the support, the encouragement, and the knowledge on how to get from A to B. So going, okay, you guys outlined a lot of things on what your goals are. So, flexibility. Perfect. I can put together a program for you so that in 12 weeks, you're going to have noticeable differences in your flexibility. That's easy. We do that every day. But for you, you're going, I want this. I don't know where to start. I don't know what's healthy for me. What should I be doing? What do I do day 1? What do I do day 45? So you research people who can help you get there. So I love a challenge because it helps kind of show people what they're capable of. It gives them a path. It gives them direction, takes the thinking out of it. It's just make the commitment. And then by the end of the 12 weeks or whatever the time frame is, you know the path, you've done it. It's easy to say, okay, this is going to be something I continue to do, at least in the aspects of what kind of challenges I participate in myself and have my clients do.
Yeah, well, because every day you wake up every single day and you're in a bunch of challenges. How many of you have noticed that? Right? Challenging with this team member, challenge with getting enough sleep, challenging with getting lunch if you're super busy, challenge with fitting in whatever, time, exercise, fun, recreation, challenge to get along in your relationship, or we're all in challenges all day long. The question is, can you design a challenge that you want to be in that's going to help you grow and elevate to another level? And where's Pat at? Pat's probably right there. Okay, so Pat, do you mind coming up here for a minute and grabbing the box? So do we have Pat's pictures? I mean, everyone saw him at the annual event.
Strip it down. Let's just do it in person.
Come on up here for
poor guy.
Yeah, if you want to grab a seat. Okay, so is that good enough light for? Yeah. So where are you at now? Where did you start, and where are you at now? And I've known this goofball since high school, and he knew me when I was a drug addict, right? So we've seen everything under the sun, like crazy shit. And Pat's one of the few people that I have been friends with since high school that I still associate with.
I put up with him.
Yeah. But again, I realized that he needed my guidance and help, so I came into his life at the opportune time. And he had not taken your shirt off on the lake for how long?
It's a long time. It's 15 years at least.
Yeah, and he's on boats every weekend because that's your life. As you go out on boats, he's very outdoorsy, has ATVs, all this sort of stuff. So, real quickly, kind of tell the version of what happened.
Okay. I think most of you guys heard the story. Yeah. But I got to start from the very beginning when I first met Whitney.
Sure.
You mean basically naked?
Yeah, right. So Joe was, you guys were doing something, and they came downstairs, and I happened to be in the office, and I walked by, and they were talking downstairs, and Joe says, "You want to do this thing that we're doing?" I was like, well, what's this thing?
That's how he sold it.
Yeah, I'm like, what are you talking about? And I'm just walking past him. I don't even know who she is or anything. He's like, no, really, let's just do this. Let's just do this. I'm like, what are we doing? He goes, come back here. And he drags me in the weight room. He says, take off your clothes. What?
You did it. Yeah. You didn't ask questions.
I was like, no, I just met her, right? I don't even know her. So anyhow, strips me down to my underwear. Yeah. And then you end up finding me a pair of shorts. Yeah. Starts taking all these pictures of me. And it was pretty embarrassing.
From the front, from the side, from the back.
Yeah, when he's on, no, turn this way, turn that way. And I'm like, oh my God, really? So anyhow, so got the pictures, and then later that night, and this was the biggest thing for me, is later that night, Joe sends me the pictures, and I was disgusted by them. I mean, absolutely disgusted by them. And I texted him back, and I said, I'm in. Whatever we got to do, I'm in. So from that day forward, it was a journey, and it was a really good journey for me. So to today, I was clocking in about 225, 230 pounds back then, and now I'm bouncing right around 185, 190. So it's a 35, 40 pound loss.
But talk about the meds. You were on blood pressure medicine.
Yeah. So I was taking 3 blood pressure meds. I don't remember what they all were. I'm down to 1 now. My blood pressure was absolutely off the charts. I don't remember any time in my life that my blood pressure was normal until about July. I took it. I don't know if Mike, do you happen to have those? Okay. I took my blood pressure again in September, and it was down to normal range, which was the first time since I could ever remember since I was an adult. So that was huge for me. One of the greatest things for me is giving all my fat clothes to my brother. I think some of you guys heard me talk about this on stage at the annual event. But you know, all the XX shirts and the 38 size pants. You can be. What does that tag say right there? Come on, it's on there.
What the hell is it?
I don't know. Large. I used to wear a 2XL shirt. So now I'm down to larges on some of them. But anyhow, so yeah, it's been a big impact for me. My son's a little bit on a kick right now. He's making sure he eats his foods properly. He's prepping his foods to take to work. My brother's starting to order from Fit Choice. We use Fit Choice now. So it's kind of been a little bit of an effect for a few other people in my life. And for me, it's just, my head is so much clearer. I can think better. I'm back out doing outdoors things, hiking and biking and
We got the pictures.
Oh, do you?
Yeah,
oh, no,
go ahead. You're hiking and biking. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, so.
Go ahead and show these real quick.
These are, yeah.
Yeah.
You guys know, these pictures were pretty embarrassing for me, especially at the annual event when they first went up. So the one on the right was me less than a year ago, and then this one here was.
Left, you mean.
Sorry, on the left. And then the one on the right was September, I think. It was a few months after starting. There I am, feeding my fat face in the kitchen, and that's when I first met Whitney. And then this was about a month and a half later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then here's the worst one. Oh well, so that, clocking in at 248, that was 187. That was 4 months later. Oh, here it is. So you can see here, this was in July, 138/88. That's pretty high for those of you that know blood pressure. And then the other one was in September, 110/72. I haven't seen it 110/72 in 25 years. My whole adult life, it's been pretty high. Oh, there's the embarrassing picture.
Yeah.
Oh my God, look at this one. And then there we go.
Yeah.
So,
It's great. Yeah.
big difference.
Yeah.
And it's all a result of, obviously getting the introduction and Whitney and Ashley cracking down on me, and then being part of the group. I heard you talking about, kind of making everybody accountable and having that little bit of a challenge. And that's what was huge for me, is to be able to share my wins and my losses. I can't tell you how many times I'd wake up in the morning and go, oh my God, I don't want to go to the gym. And I'd text it to our group, and everybody like, come on, dude, you got this. And before you know it, I'm in the gym, wishing, happy I did. So,
yeah. Thank you.
So, thanks for everything. Yeah, appreciate it. Right.
So the thing is, you're invited to do this with us if you'd like, and if not, let's still talk about and answer whatever questions you may about health. So let me ask you a couple of things. So, what do you think separates champions from contenders?
I honestly think too many people have a fear of failure. And whether they want to admit it or not, and I see it with several of my friends who are top level competing but can't, they have the potential, they have the talent to win that title, but they're always just in that lower placing. You've got to tap into something deep, and you have to literally banish any noise. You have to be able to focus on your own ability and not worry about anyone else, anyone. And this goes into play for a champion, a business person in life. There's so many ways that being an athlete has replicated in other areas of my life, in other avenues. But you have to just dive in. You've got to take the risk. I have never wanted to live a life of what if And so it's like, you transform it to, why not? Someone's going to win. Someone's going to win that title. Why not me?
Wow.
Now,
I like
I was
that.
even telling Michael, on paper, I should have never, ever even been on the Olympia stage. I mean, I got started in this industry at 35. I started breakdancing at 40. Who does that? I'm 46 now. Love the fact that I can say I'm 46 and I could throw a back tuck right here on stage and sit back down and talk. I mean, it's just like, but there's not
We may
a
want to
fear
see
of that.
this.
I know, right? Let's go. But it's just not having that fear of failure. If you lose, you learn. And I will always say I won't fail. And people think, well, geez, you're cocky. I'm telling you, like, how do you define failure? I won't fail because depending on what risk I'm taking, if it's catastrophic, I will learn and get out before it just completely plummets me. But I won't fail. Whatever challenge I take on, I give it my all. I'm strategic and smart about it. Whatever business venture I've gone into, you take smart, calculated risks, you don't fail. But too many people have a fear of failure. And I truly believe you look at anyone that's a true champion, they don't worry about it. It's not a thought they even comprehend.
Yeah.
Because if you don't win, you keep trying until you win.
Yeah.
So you have nothing to fear.
Yeah, love it, love it. Okay, so I asked everyone to write down 3 things that they would like in their health or in their body. How many of you wrote down things that you believe are obtainable? You could do them. Okay. So then the question is, why do you not? How many of you don't have some of the things that you wrote down on your list? Okay. So the question is, okay, what do you need in order to get the things that you wrote down on the list? And from that perspective, let's ask Whitney some questions related to things, and let's see how smart she is.
This is like smarter than a 5th graders at that type game.
Yeah. No. So ask her, because she may have some advice or some direction or some guidance or some perspective that may be able to help you. So who has a question? Go to Renee over here.
I'm doing this on my own. Wait, is this working?
Yeah, so it doesn't amplify.
Okay.
It'll just talk loud though.
I'm doing this in my own way right now, but basically I want to gain 5 pounds of muscle. So.
Okay, so simple tips. Now, if you were starting and you wanted to kind of get a program put together, I would be asking a lot more questions to figure out what you're doing. Yeah. But without knowing, and just in my 15 years of coaching clients to get healthy and reach their goal, I could guarantee you're probably not eating enough protein in order to do that. And as we get older, it's really important to gain that lean muscle mass. No one likes to be that skinny fat. So you've got to be able to lift. That doesn't mean lift heavy. And people think, especially females, oh, I don't want to be bulky. I don't want to get huge and look like a man in a bodybuilder. First of all, that's really hard. It's not going to happen overnight. But you do say, you go, okay, well, do you want to have a tight toned physique? Yes. Okay, well, you got to gain the lean muscle mass. So men, women, everybody, that has been completely the consensus in our group. No one is eating enough protein. It's easy to get in carbs. It's easy to get in fats. No one realizes the amount of protein that you need. And then people start tracking. They go, oh my gosh, I'm nowhere near. I'm maybe 50% of the protein that I need.
So like, how much
in.
would that be? Because I feel like I eat a shitload of protein.
Do
like
you? See,
I'm tiny. I have always been tiny my whole life. The only way I gained weight is through consistent weightlifting. So like, what would be an example of how much protein per day?
Can I speak to something first and then keep going? So here's the thing. In the Lean Life Challenge, we have everyone start tracking macros. I have had so many fitness clients, Bill Phillips, freaking Beachbody. I mean, some of the top fitness people in the world have been clients of mine, and we have 20% of the people are in Genius Network are in the health field in some way, shape, or form. So I'm around it all the time. I never tracked macros. I heard about it, but I never realized. I had no clue like what I was putting into my body. I thought I did. I really was convinced I knew what the hell I was eating and that I was eating clean. And I was eating clean compared to standard American diet, SAD, SAD. So, but it was the not what I was eating, it was the quantities, the amounts, and so when and I fought this, and it's I will say this, the word cruel optimism. I like the term cruel optimism because I don't ever want to put that out into the world where, it's so easy to get rich, it's so easy to lose weight. Some of this shit's hard, but it's way harder to live with fatigue and lethargy and regret and shame than it is to set up your life in order to feel and look a way that you actually want to look. And it's totally obtainable, but you don't know what you're putting in your body until you track it. So the beauty of the Lean Life Challenge is tracking, measuring it. Just like Callie was talking about with, you, John, you were talking about how the glucose monitor, right? So tracking the food you're putting in, you don't know if you're eating enough protein. You don't know. And that's one thing that Cherie determined. I mean, Cherie, not eating enough protein. And so, and that's what, you're right, that's the number one thing that people are wanting to put on muscle, even if they're trying to lose fat. They got to give themselves enough, because they're not losing fat because they're not eating enough of the right things in the right way.
So I would say, as a very general answer, 1 gram of protein per your body weight is standard, and that's going to probably be hard for several of you. Now, depending on your activity level, if you already eat a lot of protein, obviously you can up that. Like, I could eat a ton. I love it. It's easy for me to get protein in, but at a very base minimum, 1 gram of protein per your body weight. The other thing is, like you said, having consistent weight training and lifting is going to help. You want to make sure you get a good meal before and after. You got to have good sources of carbs to give you that push for the energy source, tied with some protein, if you can, to get that in. And then, of course, eating, say, 45 minutes to 60 minutes before workout, and then same thing after. That's going to help your body put on that lean muscle mass to keep you tight, toned, help burn some body fat. But that's a very kind of general answer to it. But again, everyone's different. So the amount of protein that Joe may need to take in, and Ashley, myself, Babs, it could be completely different. And that's why it's really important to discover it. I tell clients all the time, it's like you go to college to learn whatever skill set, get your degree so you can go become this amazing, successful businessman or woman. This is a course on yourself, learning the science behind what it takes for your body to fuel yourself, to burn, to build muscle, and it's different for everyone. And we all have different genetic makeup, we have different medical issues potentially, dietary restrictions, dietary needs. So finding what works for you, it's not a systematic thing where you can go, okay, it's across the board, very, very general, and it's going to be this way all the time. It does change, but learning right now, in this moment, this week, what it is to help you reach your goal is crucial. And then you make twists and turns as your body needs it. You hit your goal, cool. You can float, but if things start getting squirrely and your body's not where it needs to be, you're not feeling the way you want to, adjustments need to be made and go, okay, well, what's going on now? Maybe now you need more fats, whereas before you needed to reduce your fat. So your body does change, but it's important to understand why. And that's what we love about Lean Life, is it's teaching you. It's not, here's what you do, just do it. No, ask why if you don't understand it. We're designing your program, your workout, your macros, telling you to do X, Y, Z for a purpose. We want you to understand why, so that you can realize, okay, I got from this point to this point because of these changes. And again, if we do our job well, you don't need us forever. We want to make sure this is a lifelong lifestyle and that you implement everything. And we're here to help, obviously, tweak and guide when you hit plateaus. But it's taking the time to invest in yourself and take a course on learning what it is that you specifically need.
Yep. Peter, if we can throw him the mic.
Whitney, thank you. Whitney, all of us here in this room are, there maybe 23 or 25, and one of us is 85. And there's a plateau that you, like if I would have joined the fitness thing, so it goes, when you're young, you just feed the stuff up and you just keep, you can get better and better. Somewhere, I know it's 50 or 35 or 40, I don't know where that is, but the natural curve is to start down and then you die. So when you're like where you're, the older people, is you see pictures of certain people that stand there fit as hell and they're like 102 or something.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering, I really work hard in my health. I really do. And I exercise and all that stuff. But I still I've lost my calves. That's what I like to find my calves. I look down one day and they're gone.
Yeah. You're like, where'd they go?
It was like that. I mean, it really was, And so I've really been working hard on the calves. I tippy toes and all the stuff you do. And I'm wondering from you as a fitness trainer and exercise person, because all of us are on that decelerating path, whether we like it or not, we'll get there one day. What do you recommend for people who want to stay fit? They're healthy. They're they're somewhere on the down cycle, so they stay fit, strong, walk straight. Don't be little old men. Or little old women hobbling along and walking. I fight that like crazy. So I'd really like you to, if you have a, I think it might be of interest to everybody because everybody's get older. So maybe talk on that of what you would recommend. That.
So it's trying to kind of understand again what is it that's most important. So like obviously I know you said calves, but I know that's not the only thing. And it's flexibility and quality of life. So for a lot of the clients that we work with that are a little bit older, it's totally different from somebody who's in their 50s or heck, someone who's in their 30s. So it becomes more of range of motion, quality of life, getting out of bed where you're not, like even for me with as many bones as I've broken, I feel like I'm Rice Krispie treats when I get out of bed. I'm like snap, crackle, pop, whoa. That's horrible. But for a lot of people, it's a matter of, I want to feel good. I want to be able to get out of bed and not stretch for half an hour to just be able to stand up straight or to be able to go walk around the neighborhood and not come back and have this crazy limp because my hip is just not working well. So in regards to really trying to kind of guide that path correctly, it's a matter of truly understanding your hormone balance. Is everything on point? Because you can have some major roadblocks come at you if you're not on point with understanding where your body's at and getting regular blood work. Similar to how Callie had discussed. You've got to get a very in-depth look. That's the first thing we ask all clients to do, and with Lean Life, it's the same thing. You got to know where your benchmark is. So if you're healthy, great. And then it's a matter of kind of putting together a protocol. What are you eating? Are you fueling your body with proper nutrition? Everything you put in your body should have a purpose. It's going to help you feel better. It could cause complete inflammation where you're going, okay, this doesn't feel well and I can't move well and everything's achy just because of the stuff you ate the day before. So it's a matter of really kind of putting together a plan of what it is that you like. What activities do you love? I was talking to someone earlier saying, if you love to run, and I say, okay, well, you're going to go do boxing every day, and that's your workout program. That's not going to fuel your body to continue your program. Mentally, you're not going to be stimulated. So for what we see, it's so not about even aesthetics of how you look as you get older. It's everything else. You definitely want to look good, but when you have mental strength, mental clarity, you're happy, all that other stuff typically goes away. When you can get out and do activities with grandchildren or friends and even just go on a walk or a hike and not be exhausted and not have to stop halfway, that's such a huge win. So whether it's you're 30, 50, 80, you should always have a plan of what it is, how do you want to feel, what do you want to be doing, and how can we get you there? And then again, designing a path to help you.
Clint Eastwood, he had the best. I think personally, all the stuff you say is correct, no matter what age you are. But the biggest thing, I don't care whether you're 30 or 50 or 70, Clint Eastwood said it all the best for me. He gave me my advice. It's mindset, and it's don't let the old man in.
Yeah, yeah. Age is just a number.
Yeah, no matter whether you're 50.
Don't let the old man
Yeah.
in.
It's, and that's how you see the people
old
who are
woman.
100
Or old
years
woman.
old. Yeah, exactly. But you see people who are 100 and you're like, there is no way someone carded them. But they don't believe they're 100, so kudos to them. But it is, everything, again, for me personally, so much is mindset with me just refusing to believe I can't do this. Someone says, hey, can you do this crazy trick? I'm like, I don't know. There's only one way to find out. If you have enough belief in yourself, you're going to be able to do it.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying this video, and I want to let you know that I have a new book that's come out, and if you'd like to get it absolutely free, there's a link below in the description, or you can wait till the end of this video, or you can simply go to joesfreebook.com and you can get a copy there.
So you said eat before workout and after workout? So I
Yes.
work out at 7 in the morning. Normally I would just have water and coffee, then go work out. What am I eating before?
Well, and it's funny too, because most men would love to not eat breakfast. Women are more likely to eat breakfast first thing, whether you're going to work out or not. So if you don't naturally already do that, trying to tell you to have a big breakfast is not
Well, I
going to
eat
happen.
it after my workout. I eat a full breakfast.
Which
After
is
the
great.
workout. Not
But
before, though.
You want to have something in your body, because naturally, how long is your workout?
An hour.
Are you lifting weights or are you doing cardio?
Lifting weights, and bands and stuff.
You'll probably lift much better and be stronger if you eat something beforehand. If you're
So
doing
like a
cardio,
banana?
that's
I mean,
a little
what would be?
So I would say just something, you could even do a protein shake and a banana. So whether it's half a banana and a small protein shake or half a protein shake, if you're not already eating it, again, something small is going to work until you start really getting your metabolism working for you, because then you're going to be hungry. And maybe you want eggs and an English muffin or oatmeal with a protein shake, but even something little that's typically a protein and a carb is going to help you. It'll fuel your workout more because you're trying to build muscle. So if you go in and you've been fasting all night, you wake up, get dressed, get ready, go to the gym, you work out for an hour, your body has used all of its energy source. So now what does it do? It taps into your muscle. And putting it simplistically, your body starts eating away at the muscle because it needs energy to help you get through your workout.
Is
Well, now
banana
you're
a carb?
undoing
Is
what
banana a
you're doing.
carb?
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
easy.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah, so protein, whether it's liquid
Is
form
banana a
or
carb?
eggs.
I want something easy.
Yeah, quick and easy.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I have a pretty personal inside baseball question. So I started training again after being sick for a few weeks, and to get protein, I drink shakes. I drink like the J's protein, whatever, but it has a bunch of sugar in it. And every time I drink it, I get like a crazy sugar crash. And I've talked to like my meathead friends, and they're like, oh, you know, that sugar is good for bioavailability. It gets the protein to the muscles faster. Keep taking it. But like I struggle. So is there like a happy medium where there's like a protein that doesn't taste like chalk, that also has good bioavailability, and that won't make me crash?
There you go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I mean, muscle egg is a good one at egg whites, but it's true. A lot of times, you know, companies, it's all marketing. They want you to try it and go, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Well, a lot of the younger generation, they love that energy, that sugar, and then when they start crashing, they do an energy drink. They're constantly stimulating themselves. Well, we're smarter to know that we're going to tap our adrenals if we do that. There are plenty of protein companies and protein powders, protein shakes out there that do have low carb. Low carb meaning, say, adds 3, max 5 grams of carbs per scoop, dimetize and BSN.
And we actually have the Amazon store.
Oh, yeah, we
we
do.
have an Amazon store with 200 different items, everything from bands and all kinds of shit that
Protein powders,
her and
yeah.
Ashley have put together. We've put together. We can just send that link to you guys if you want
Yeah.
to buy proteins that have low.
Yeah.
Great. The protein that
those
you're
are
talking
good
about
ones.
is in there.
What's that?
The 2 that you were just mentioning are on the list?
Yes,
Great.
they are. Yeah, and they taste great too. Like that's the thing. I'm the same way. Like Metrex, those were some that I would choke down way back. I thought this is like literally chalk, but it was a good protein source. The game has changed, so there's a lot of great ones out there. A lot of times, if you look, and again, looking at kind of the nutrition labels, there's so much filler in a lot of these protein powders and pre-made shakes, and they upset people's stomach. They give you the crash. So you got to find something that's giving you the protein source that's not going to cause you any kind of negative effect.
Sorry, just one more question. Given Callie's earlier, raising of our collective awareness around processed foods, how do you think about powdered proteins in terms of being a processed food? Do you try to consume more proteins that are like meats and vegetables, or Evans egg whites from Whole Foods or whatever? Like, do you try to get a balance, or are you that's not a big concern of yours? Or maybe share a little bit how you think about processed foods and protein consumption for your own situation.
I agree everything with what he said. Now, if you have the option to have a natural source of protein over something like protein powder or anything that's kind of like the fake alternative, protein bars, natural sources are always 1,000 times going to be better. But in reality, a lot of times there's not that time to sit and cook a fresh meal every time. So again, business people, very busy, crazy schedule people, this is a good option. Maybe it's a snack, or maybe it's first thing in the morning because you don't want to have to get up earlier to make a meal. I would say at the most, like 1 a day is okay. If you're getting into 2, like 2 shakes a day or 2 protein bars a day, you know, again, that's not the most.
Yeah, eat real food is what. Yeah,
Yeah,
use
it's
that.
always, that's always going to be the best solution. Use these options as an as needed basis, you know, when you're in a pinch.
Yeah, like the term better bad choice that I got from my friend Keith Klein years ago, where he's like, okay, say you're in the airport and your flight is 4 hours delayed and you were a person that packs your own food, healthy, grass-fed or whatever, you know. So as crazy as this sounds, I always travel with sardines. If I ever get trapped in a situation where I cannot eat food, sardines, I mean, they're canned. They're not the best tasting things in the world, but I have food. I mean, I do not travel without carrying sardines in my freaking carry. And most people would be disgusted by that, right? If you don't like to. But I will make chicken and stuff. I always travel with my food, so I'm not forced to eat, you know, airplane food. Even if you're flying first class or whatever, it's not very healthy. They're using shit oils, you know. If I'm, you know. But he said better bad choice. So if you're like in the airport, it's 9 p.m. Everything's getting ready to close down. You're out of food and your flight's delayed till midnight and you're starving. He's like, and you got a choice of Subway or McDonald's. You know, Subway's not all that great, but it's better than McDonald's. So he's like, you're always in situations where you make a better bad choice. Yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, but here's the thing. Most everyone here in the room, this group costs $100,000 a year. You guys have money, right? So get a chef. Get a food service, you know, get some, you can order really healthy grass-fed, you know, beef jerky. I mean, you know, that doesn't have a bunch of preservatives and shit on it. I mean, you can order healthy packaged food, but try to eat, you know, whole foods as much as possible. And yeah.
And one thing to add too is one of the greatest things we've already seen. We have 82 participants in this challenge, 6 weeks in. You sell sexy, oh, get the body you want, right? That's always the marketing behind it. The changes that people have made already in the 6 week, they're losing weight. You know, you see Pat, but it's everything. You talked about Martha McSally, this fight she had. I mean, she admitted her check-in form. We do a long questionnaire. It was, I won't do this. I won't do this. I won't cook. I'm not going to go to the gym. I'm not going to, like all these things. And it was like, okay, we've done this before. We know how we're going to handle this. So she fought this battle, even though she said, these are my goals. And she had very detailed, outlandish goals for someone who didn't want to change a damn thing. Yeah. I thought, okay, this will be interesting. But again, and it's we know how to hold their hand through the process, and she's already had her aha moment at 6 weeks. Normally it doesn't happen that fast.
Yeah, she flipped a switch, and we did a whole video where she's like, I was such a pain in the ass to Ash. I said, let's shoot a video. She's like, they probably hate me. I was
not at all.
No, she's like, I was, and then we ended up shooting 14 minutes of video. Yeah. Like, who on my team? Let's make sure, you know, just make a note to my team who that. I want to take the video of me and Martha that we shot right outside Tarbell's restaurant, right? Yeah. And it was her going through all of the emotional rigmaroles. But what I actually think happened, she had a real moral dilemma with eating meat because she had not eaten meat, I think, was it 12 or 14 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. And she looked at her labs. On the last Lean Life call we did, we had Cherie, we had Dr. Sachin Patel and Dr. Amy Horniman all talking about labs and hormones, hormone levels. And she looked at her labs and she's like, oh my God, you know, I'm doing everything. I'm thinking I'm eating healthy. I'm working out every day. And she looked at her labs and she's like, oh my God. And so she changed her diet and her energy level, her mood, everything. She's like, I feel like I've just been lifted out of this fog I've been in for ages. And I think she was really pained, you know, and you know, again, it's you don't know where you're at until you measure it and take a look at it, and that's, yeah.
And she's one of the stories. And the other thing is, you know, again, we said, go get your labs done. Even some people said, oh, I had it done 6 months ago. And then they had these huge reveals of oh shit, I am not healthy and I need to address this. I mean, obviously we keep everything private, but there's several that are now facing some big things that they go, if it wasn't for you guys forcing me, even though I fought it and said, I just had it done, they didn't realize stuff can change very quickly. And just because they haven't been eating right or exercising, that wasn't the reason that they feel so horrible when they wake up in the morning. So that alone has been their kick in the butt to go, I got to get this together. I have a business run. I have a family to be a part of for years to come. I have a long life I want to live. So these moments of clarity to go, wow, it's not about looking good. It's about getting off the medications. It's about waking up and going, I feel like I had 10 hours of sleep when they only had 5, but so many things are working for them in the right capacity that they are feeling so good. That's the win that we want. It's a harder sell to say, you guys do it because you're gonna feel more energized. It's like, yeah, okay. But clearly you want to make sure that you're doing things to look at all aspects of your life, because every part will improve. And we're here to help you do that.
And Tommy, I'm going to call on you in a minute too, just so you know.
So, as much as I hate getting my blood done, I get it done fairly regularly. My challenge, and probably other people's challenge too, depending on their access to family doctors, which we seem to have a problem in Canada with, is getting the requisitions for the blood work, and you can't even get what you need. So, like, I mean, you know, I'm used to getting a lot, but you know, family doctor won't do it. What do you think about services like Inside Tracker? Like, who do you guys use services like that? Like, I was thinking of signing up for that and just getting it done quarterly, because then I don't have to worry about the doctors or the recs or anything like that.
Well, so Cherie actually helped for the Lean Life group. She kind of took the lead on putting together a list of all the labs that we would want any of our clients to get, and then worked with Sachin, because obviously things are different in Canada, and then he kind of has helped identify what is needed, what's the best type information to take to your own doctor, or he can direct you to someone as well. Have you talked with Sachin at all in regards to, is he helping you navigate that?
Well, no, it's my fault. I haven't gotten back to him, but I don't think. Yes, it's more difficult. Like the labs won't even do the things. Like, I mean, I like, even if I get the recs, I end up having to come down to the U.S. So like, I'm wondering. I was just wondering if there's.
Hold on, we have to have you use a mic. So.
I've been ordering my own blood work for about a decade. You can do it very easily online, and it is so inexpensive. Directlabs.com.
Okay, that's in the U.S. though,
And
right?
yes,
Okay.
in the U.S. Well, I don't. You know, they might be international. I don't know.
No, they're not in Canada.
Directlabs.com and Ulta. For anyone in the U.S., I've been doing this for a decade.
And do they do them in every state, or which?
Yes, any state that has either LabCorp and Quest Labs.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
I think Inside Tracker uses Quest Labs.
I don't know that one, but
Blood Test Canada, you can order. They do Ontario, Quebec.
Bloodtestcanada.com.
But do they do everything of it? Like,
They
that's
do a
the.
lot.
No, but they usually
know it.
only have little packages, right?
I went and did like 10 vials.
No, when I go, I do like 40.
Yeah, no, but you can order. Just check it out.
Okay,
Bloodtestcanada.com.
You know the best though is Evan actually fainted while I was when he was getting a blood draw. I was with him. It was fucking fantastic.
Did you really?
Yeah.
There's a story behind that, but the short answer is yes.
No, he literally flat out fainted.
Oh, no.
And I'd never seen anyone fainted with needles. I was like, that shit's real.
Oh,
I guess that. I mean, I saw a guy nearly OD, but that's a
I
different
was going to
story.
say, your
but,
needles might be a little different from your.
No, but now you're doing blood tests. This is great.
Yeah.
So I told Sachin about it too. He wasn't familiar with it, and
I'm looking it up right now, Evan.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Okay.
make an order right now,
Good.
Evan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, look, I know some of you are sitting there going, okay, well, this does not apply to me. And what I hope you take away from this conversation with Whitney is just, even if it's a little bit like 5% more emphasis on thinking about something you could do with that list you wrote down, is if you don't take time out for it now, you'll take time out for it later. I don't like eating. I love eating pizza. I love avoiding workouts, all that sort of stuff. But you know, it's kind of like that Somerset mod that, you know, I don't like writing, I like having written. I don't like working out, I like having worked out. And if you do it enough, you actually end up liking to work out. If you end up starting to flow with it, and because you see the advantages. I mean, and you have, and the reason most people are unhealthy, this could be applied in the foods they eat, the exercise, whatever, is they don't want to work through the burn. And an issue, so that I said cruel optimism, and what cruel optimism is there's so much stuff that is promoted to people where people lose faith because some marketer, some asshole manipulative marketer or some agency or whatever has made it appear that it's a lot easier to get to. That's why you talking about Callie talking about Ozempic. It's cruel optimism. I mean, you're like, you know what, the tank is polluted, let's just drug the fish. It's like, you're not helping these people. That's cruel optimism. You're giving them this hope that they're going to lose weight while you're simultaneously destroying all hope. Because ultimately, you're going to pay the piper for neglect. And if you're not happy, you know, and like, again, there's a lot of things that I always want better in my health. If I left to my own devices, part of my whole agenda of doing this is I've been working out a lot more and eating a lot cleaner and tracking stuff. And there's a lot of areas that I have for improvement. But the longer that I stay in the game, the better it gets. And so, and we all fall off track. I mean, I think success is you create a track that is producing results, and human things happen. Breakups, deaths, sickness, illness, shit in the economy, stuff you can't control. You get thrown off track. But if you know how to get back on track, or the amount of time you know, what happens with a lot of people, they keep going off track, they go off track, and they're like, my life is not working. I mean, everything's all screwed up. And it's like, that's because you aren't doing the things that when your life was working, if you just look back, you had certain things happening and your life was working. So the reason I asked for Tommy is because Tommy was basically a big butterball of lard and fat. And I'm kidding. No. So Tommy started, he started Blue Collar Body. So Tommy is really becoming more of the spokesperson for people in service businesses, and he has a very large, successful service company himself. And so I went and spoke at this event he did in November, big event, and he had his doctor there who actually happens to be local here, and he launched Blue Collar Body. But you did that as a byproduct of keeping yourself in shape. And so talk about what's happened with you, because there were people saying to you, dude, you are not looking good, and you're looking at yourself and you felt like you got super overworked, because he's running a $200+ million a year company. He's got 700+ employees. He's in multiple states. So it's easy to neglect exercise and diet, but he changed all that.
Yeah, for me it was just, it's all accountability. It's getting a trainer that actually gets mad at you when you don't show up. Because the best trainers, they know exactly how far to push you to not quit. Then there's the asshole that'll make you not walk the next day and never want to go back again. Yeah. A great trainer knows exactly the limits of what you're ready to accept at that moment. And when you start asking for more is when you know you've made it. So I'm getting super, super strong. I'm going to get up to 260 pounds and then cut down to 235. It's kind of the old way of doing it. I know you can do both now, but I always say, especially in business, I say I equate business to working out. Some years you're growing, taking market share, and that's the bulk. And then when you want to get that EBITDA up is when you start getting cut up, chiseled. But yeah, it's hard. And I say the biggest thing for me is the alcohol. I mean, I enjoy beer. What can I say? Yeah. So it's alcohol is the tough part, and then sleep, and then not eating too much. I think your body does better when it's not always full. Yeah. Is eating till you feel like you're not hungry. So yeah, a lot of these guys. I mean, I was at Andy Elliott's place, and we did 70 push-ups on stage. I had 10 of us. So. Oh, nice. A lot of the guys just couldn't do 70, but it was fun, and that's. These blue-collar guys, you work all day. You're already working a 12-hour day. So to get them to want to work out is tough. Yeah. But once they do it, they're like, wow, this is awesome.
It's an outlet. And, we do a lot of different challenges with a lot of different groups. And it's crazy because Ashley and I have said, this group, it's all Genius Network members and spouses, primarily, I think just a couple. But it is crazy that being such successful, high-level entrepreneurs, you guys put yourselves last always.
Right.
Always, always. But yet you're so amazing in this area. You are so focused on taking care of everyone else and doing for others that there's always tomorrow for you. And that's not always the case. And we've really, that is what we have said, this is crazy, because again, we deal with different groups of people. The most successful group is the group that is the least caring about their own selves, their own purpose, their own health. And it should never be that way. And so that's where we've said we've really got to do this push to say enough is enough. And we've had to call out several of the members to go, you're either making excuses or you're making progress. And it doesn't matter what your goal is, but you're either making excuses or you're making progress. Which is it?
Yep, and what's great is this totally unearths learned helplessness, which I think most people have in some area, and where you just have learned to be helpless, and then your alibis, because everybody has an alibi. Everyone has the rationalization, their excuse, and this unearths a lot of them, and when you have to come face to face with your alibis and your rationalizations, it's kind of a pain in the ass. It sucks. Yeah. All right, before we wrap up here, I want to show you some different food items. All right, so we got chicken noodle soup from Campbell's, and we got tomato soup. And we got another tomato soup up here. But the difference is I paid $2 per can for these two at the bottom, and they actually have soup in them. Soup in them, all right? This one, the soup has been taken out, but I paid $4,500 for this can. Why do you think I did?
Andy Warhol.
It's signed by Andy Warhol, right? So I bought it at an auction, and you know, I keep this displayed in my house because it's like, for one, I wouldn't recommend eating this as a food item, but in all, if we were starving, these would be way more valuable in terms of what value is, because they actually have something you can eat in them. Mm-hmm. Whereas this one is empty, and this one was old, but it's like the value of that signature, right? So what sort of signature can you put on your body? What sort of thing can you do that will dramatically increase the value? I could turn this into all kinds of marketing metaphors, mm-hmm. because everything is really packaging and positioning and all that sort of stuff. But you're all, I tell the $1 million racehorse, out of all the stupid stuff that I say, people love the $1 million racehorse. You know, you've heard that, you've heard me say it several times. If you had a $1 million racehorse, what would you do? Every time that horse ran a race and won, you'd win $1 million. You would give that horse the best nutrition, the best exercise. You would have the best trainers. You would, have the horse in the right races, not the wrong races. And what wouldn't you do? You wouldn't be feeding the horse junk food all day long. You wouldn't have the horse up till 3 a.m. every night snorting crystal meth and watching porn. You would not have the horse hanging out with a bunch of losers. You wouldn't have the horse drinking and smoking, and you wouldn't have the horse in the wrong races. You'd pick the right races for that horse's talent. And I say that, and it's like, here's the punchline. You're the $1 million racehorse, right? And young people, or people that aren't quite millionaires yet, love that story because it's like, but here's the thing, every single person in this room is a $1 million racehorse. Mm-hmm. And if you owned a $1 million racehorse and your job was to totally take care of that horse, you would do all of the things right for that horse. And a lot of you actually have things in your life that you give better care and nurturing to than your own physical health and your own physical bodies. And a lot of you will and I say all of this because I've done every single bit of it myself. So I'm really speaking to myself when I say these things. I mean, isn't it funny, like, if you want to know what somebody like writes books about or does events about or subject matters, is like, that's the shit they want most in their own life, because that's why they're talking about it, right?
Yep.
That's my thing. I always say, all my male friends that won't walk into a therapist's office, what they do instead is they start a podcast. And so the thing is that, like, you're the $1 million racehorse. The list that you made, 3 things you would like, you could hire that. Dan and Ben Hardy wrote a book called Who Not How. Mm-hmm. There are who's that you can hire that can help you get what it is that you need there. But Jim Rohn also had that great line, where you can't pay someone to do your push-ups for you. Yeah. So there are certain things you just have to do. And are you willing to work through the burn? And if you're not willing to work through the burn, because it's so interesting, every time a challenge happens, when I was with the Bill Phillips thing on a mass scale, you'd be lucky if 10% of the people have completed it.
Yeah.
So most people are not participants, they're observers of other successful people. And in the positions that all of you are in as successful entrepreneurs, like it or not, you're a role model. You're a role model to your employees, you're a role model to other people. People aspire to have I look at things from the lens of marketing. And so Dan Sullivan, when no one else was really doing free days or even talking about that, he's taken all these crazy, ambitious entrepreneurs, and it became, strategic coach was like AA for workaholics, right? And so Dan would talk about and show, and he still does, about where he went on vacation and how he's doing this and how he's doing that. And it's like, these people, there are people in the room that make a shit ton of money, but they ain't living like that.
Yeah.
They're not taking any free days. They don't have a unique ability team. They don't have a lifetime extender. He's giving them more life, and then he's showing them how to live an aspirational life. So they want to live like that because it's aspirational. So what I would say is, even if you don't think to do it for yourself, I'll tell you, Pat Nahas, I think, where's Pat? Over there? Yeah, behind. So, like, I've known Pat's family, and all of his family start saying to Pat, without him trying to sell them on anything, when he started physically changing, his family's like, what the hell is going on? Like, I want to have a little bit of that. So the beauty of when you start transforming yourself physically, other people notice. And when you listen to Callie, I mean, I think it's pretty obvious this country's not on a good trajectory of looking and being healthy. And so I think that's why I wanted to put emphasis on this, is to be a role model. So any final questions for Whitney or anything that we haven't talked about? Because this is not like an interview to be ended here. It's just planting a seed, because I want all of you to create either your own challenge, and if you want to do it with us, we're here to help you. We're going to start another one in 6 weeks, and I even came up with a great ethical bribe, which is we're charging people. So we charge people $1,500, which includes a custom program that Ashley and Whitney put together along with 12 weeks of coaching, and if you actually complete it, we'll give you the money back. So the $1,500 is, now the other incentive here is if you like it, you want to keep going, we'll just apply that as credit to keep going, because some people are just going to keep doing it because it helps them.
Yeah.
So that's how we're looking at it. We're not trying to just pitch someone another. We're wanting to get our members to be the healthiest, most amazing group of entrepreneurs on the planet, because most of the sausage factories that are called mastermind groups don't really emphasize this sort of stuff. So I think everyone here is $1 million.
And Ashley's in the back over there, so it's her and I kind of running all this to keep you guys accountable, and it will continue, and it's been our mission. It will always be to help you guys realize that you have to take care of yourself. And if you're already part of it, I'm going to keep hammering away that what you need to do for yourself. Because again, whether the 12 weeks is your journey and then you're done, I still know that you're not always taking care of yourself. And we want to call you out on it. We want to remind yourself that you must be a priority. You have to put yourself first. Otherwise, everything you do in business, in personal, in life won't matter if you aren't there and capable to do the things you want to do for others.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yes, Pat.
I'm going to put Whitney on the spot again a little bit. So what's coming up April 6th?
So I promote 4 shows here in Arizona. This one it's called the Triple O Dynasty. It is a show that's for professional athletes as well as amateur athletes. So that's the first of 4 events I have here in Arizona. It's a fitness competition, all different levels.
And you're competing, right?
I'm not competing at that one.
Okay.
Ashley will be, so she'll be stepping on stage. I'll be working, so we don't have my division. Which
the
is
reason I
probably a
bring
good
it
thing.
up is we had the chance, Joe and I both had the chance to attend one that you had here locally in October, and then we did the Joe Weider one in Florida.
Yeah.
Both of them were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed going, especially the one here that you had locally, just being around everybody that was fit and healthy, and their energy levels were different. They seemed so much more peaceful. Yeah. It was the neatest experience for me. So I just wanted to mention it. If anybody gets a chance to go, April 6th, I think is what you said it was.
Yes, here in
Yeah, no, they're fun. They're fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of a freak show too. So
It is. I mean, I'm not going to lie. Our industry can be very weird.
Yeah.
Very weird.
But I like bizarre, interesting things. I mean, if anything else, I'm just super curious about stuff. So, Parth this is now completed the Whitney Jones notable quotes. I'll read a couple, and you're doing it, and Henry's helping too.
I'm doing it.
You're doing it? Okay, awesome. So thank you. This is great. So notable quotes. It wasn't about the win. It was about enjoying the journey, the challenge, and finding mastery in even just one skill. You got to tap into something deep, and you have to literally banish any noise. You have to be able to focus on your own ability and not worry about anyone else. If you don't win, you keep trying until you win, so you have nothing to fear. And then the insights, the importance of a challenge, innovation and routine, mindset over everything, the role of nutrition, adaptability and personalization, lifelong learning and self-education, the power of community support, which is really important, actionable items, embrace challenges, innovate your routine, adapt a growth mindset, prioritize nutrition, personalize your fitness plan, educate yourself, and seek support. So, anything else?
No, I mean, obviously would love to help anyone who wants to be part of the challenge, but either way, you know, this is my craft, this is my knowledge base. I would love to help any of you guys if it's one simple question, if it's putting together a program. You guys can always reach out to me in any aspect. This is what I do, this is what I love. If there's any way I can help elevate you to be and feel healthier, I'm all in.
Yeah, should give him a mic if we could throw Garen a mic.
And what do y'all need support with?
Ah, that's a good question.
Yeah, well, thank you, Garrett.
It's a really good room.
Yes. He asked, what do we need support with? Well, we have a lot of ideas on where we want to take Lean Life, and we will be talking with John a little later to kind of put together a strategy, because in reality, it's not just about getting fit, looking good. As we've said, this is a movement. This is something we want to take globally, and we know we're capable of doing it. We want to, you know, have this aspect to help the youth. So many things that Callie said. We have the platform, we have the protocol, we have the program. How can we help? Let us be in there. We'll do anything we can to help make this a big push so we can get rid of all this BS that's literally getting the media attention. So if whatever you're doing, or if you have capabilities that you see there's a leg that you see an opportunity for collaboration, we're all about it. You know, we have different ideas in regards to corporate wellness. We have some of our participants that have already made some progress within their own company by motivating, and similar to Pat, people are going, what are you doing? You're looking good. You're coming in happy to work. So it's this ripple down effect. We're creating corporate wellness programs. We want to, of course, work with the youth, looking at proper supplementation so that you know what's the good stuff you're getting and not buying a bunch of crap that does nothing. So there's so many different realms. Fitness, health, wellness is literally in everything. So, you know, the more people, the merrier, the better ideas. There's so much power in number, as you guys know. So would love to have any partners in anything. If there's an angle that you see fit, there's plenty that we have ideas, but you know, again, we're an open book. We're still at the early entry level stages of the reach we want to achieve. So, you know, we're all in, and this is constantly changing. So we're ready for any ideas, or if you guys see a fit, and more importantly, any learning from kind of how it's impacted you. Even Tommy sharing his story, you know, great. I love that he's taken his own personal experience and helping his industry. For those people who go, God, I've worked 12-hour days, I don't have time for it. Yeah, you do. Quit making excuses.
Yeah, and we would like people to get lean, not by having to consume like meds,
yeah,
but by actually having a lifestyle that is conducive to a lean life. And I own the website leanlife.com, which we have, and I also own the phone number 1-800-LEAN-LIFE. And years ago, I bought it years ago because I was like, that would be such a good name because it's easy to remember. And I was thinking about it for TV ads and for radio. Right, and now the world has dramatically changed with social media, and now we have AI, and I'm trying to think the best way to roll out 1-800-LEAN-LIFE that could answer questions and dialogue with us on everything. So we haven't, the Lean Life bot that's built, we haven't like really released in prime time, but if any of you want to test that, you know, Tommy has this, you know, great line he says all the time, which is nail it and scale it. So we're wanting to nail it first before we try to really grow and build it. And that's why taking, you know, the 82 people that we have, which we're getting really good results, but there's a lot of kinks to work out, especially we have to make the decision if we're going to go mainstream. Most mainstream Americans are not going to track their macros without a lot of fall off. So it's like, how do we do it in a way to where we can make it as easy as possible, even using AI to track macros? Because you know, when people are, you know, most of you are not going to track. Like, how many of you have carried a scale with you while you've traveled here to weigh your food? Anyone? So JJ Virgin carries a scale everywhere. Her and Tim, and JJ has like 8% body fat at 60 years old and is in killer physical shape. She freaking weighs most of her food everywhere she goes. Even when she's here, I have scales downstairs if you want to weigh your food and see. And we even, if you notice, we actually are tracking macros on the food that's being served here, right? So we're trying to do stuff, but it's figuring out what are the fundamentals that we could really roll out lean life and do it in a big way. I mean, even with the recovery kits, if we put that project together, it's like dawned to me that we need to do lean life for recovery.
Yeah.
Exercise for people that are struggling with addiction. We can put it into that box, so we can probably make this a very big thing. But I wanna roll it out the right way. So I love the question, and anyone that has ideas, or if you want to do lean life with your own clientele or do anything that makes sense, if we can come up with something that's a hell yes, we're all for it. That's always the question we all have too.
Yeah.
Like, is it a hell yes or no? Because yeah. So was this helpful?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
You're awesome, Whitney. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Here. All right, we're gonna do some dancing and breakdancing.
Okay, I hope you found that video awesome and useful. So if you want to get a free copy of my book, I want you to click here. And if you want to watch some more videos that'll be useful and awesome, click here. Go ahead. They're over here. Do it now. Come on. Thank you. Watch them.